Hello everyone, this is Christian Imazu from Nizona Corporation based in Japan. We have been manufacturing, selling and exporting nutraceutical products all over the world from Kobe, Japan, since the last 10 years. Now, today I want to talk about what is taste made of. We have many customers asking this question when developing a product. What is in a taste? What is taste made of? Now, the first thing that I gotta explain to you is that when it comes to taste, we have to usually mix a number of so-called excipients. Excipients are inactive ingredients, meaning auxiliary ingredients that are in a product not as the main start of the show, but as those helpers that keep the base of an item. Excipients include water as a base solution when it comes to a drink, or other substances such as sweeteners, acidulants, and sometimes preservatives. Any of these items, they have different functions. The sweeteners, of course, have the function to provide the product with sweetness. Now, when it comes to sweetness, this aspect is closely related with the aspect of deliciousness of a product. Usually people want to consume a product that is delicious. But remember, not everything that is delicious is necessarily healthy. We have been hearing that great piece of wisdom from our mothers and their grandmothers ever since we are children, and that still holds true. However, there is a way to add deliciousness to a product to a certain extent by using sugars or non-sugar sweeteners to your product. Depending on the nature of your product, we are able to adjust the number of sweeteners and try to make it as delicious as possible. Now, the factor that affects deliciousness is the other ingredients that are blended in the product. For example, if your product has many ingredients, sometimes we at Nizona Corporation manufacture products that have more than 10 or more ingredients. When the active ingredients in your product are multiple, that makes your product very, very rich, but at the same time, technically complex. And you have to remember that every ingredient has its own individual flavor. Have you ever tasted any particular vitamin in itself? Probably not. But if you do, you will notice that they are very, very hard to eat and to consume. And the same happens with other extracts or ingredients that are derived from natural sources, especially from certain animal sources or sometimes even vegetable sources. Due to the concentration of those ingredients, sometimes they are sometimes bitter or sometimes very, very strong to taste, and that makes them quite unpalatable by themselves. So when we have a lot of ingredients in your formulation, that makes it very technologically challenging to make it delicious. In order to have a product that is delicious, we need to recur to sweeteners. And that applies not only to Nizona Corporation, but it holds true to the entire food industry. Now, the debate between sugar and non-sugar sweeteners, the plus and cons of each one of those, will be discussed in a different video. The acidulants are another set of additives that the food industry utilizes to balance the flavor from the sweet to the acid, to find a good balance between both. That certainly helps the deliciousness, but a reason to use acidulants in the food industry also relates to food safety. And that applies because of the pH level that a food item must achieve in order to be safe to consume. That applies in particular to beverages or other products that have a high humidity levels, because as you know, bacteria grows more easily in wet environments, and that is the reason why the pH has to be low so that the product is safe to consume and can be stable over time. Finally, the other item that we utilize to make a product and to make an item during the shelf life is preservatives. Preservatives are not particularly related with the aspect of taste. However, since we are talking about additives, these are an important aspect to mention in this video. Preservatives are utilized since ancient times. Not every preservative necessarily is artificial. We, or our ancestors, have been utilizing preservatives since the beginning of time to conserve foods during those long winters when there was no way to conserve food. We didn't have refrigerators, or we needed to survive essentially based on the harvest of the previous year. So preservatives have been utilized since ancient times in the form of vinegar or salt to dry foods or to pickle them so that we can keep them for a long time. The same principle applies today in the 21st century food industry, where we utilize different kinds of preservatives. Not all of them are natural, not all of them are artificial, in order to have a product withstand a long-term shelf life. Shelf life is an absolute requirement in the food industry because of the requirements of global supply chain and distribution. A product with a short shelf life cannot withstand international logistics, and therefore cannot be enjoyed by people outside of that small little region where the product is made. To allow that, we use preservatives so that our products can withstand 2 or even 3 years of shelf life. Preservatives are particularly important in products that are liquid, because again, as I mentioned before, liquid products are more prone to develop bacterial contamination, and that is why we have to be particularly careful with those, as opposed with dry products like powders or tablets, which may not require preservatives because they are dry products. So, what is taste made of? Particularly sweeteners and acidulants, and let's remember again that every item that we produce is made of a multiple number of ingredients, and therefore all of them needs to be balanced out with the help of these auxiliary ingredients. There's a lot to talk about this topic, and we will be addressing them in different videos in the future, but in the meantime, please feel free to get in touch with us through our website nizona.co.jp. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.